All right, welcome back to another late edition of Terry and Mike Behind Enemy Lines. All right, we're really late this time. We had some big technical issues, but so you guys that watch us regularly, you know we're late all the time, right? So what do I say? What do you want for nothing, right? You're not paying nothing for this. So yes, we would like to get on time, but we always have issues. So we really apologize because we're extra late today, but it's going to be worth it because we had a super special guest. All of our guests are special, but Mary is extra special. And ooh, oh my God, I had my intro here. Oh, look at that. That's screwed up too. I got my intro here for you. All right. So here we go. Mary Flynn O'Neill is an anti-trafficker advocate dedicated to ending human sex trafficking, lifting up survivors. She leads initiatives that blend the prevention of policy and empowerment. Now, that was a great AI introduction, Mary.
Yes. I get so many different introductions. It's very fun. I mean, I don't know where they come from. Sometimes I think my team just kind of puts stuff in there that, I laugh at. I'm like, oh, okay.
I'm not too proud to lie. I used AI. I said, give me a little short intro. And
So funny.
Mary has been doing this for a very long time, right? And
Wow.
we're gonna localize some of the stuff to Chicago and the invasion, and what she's been doing before the invasion was bad as as it was by itself. Now it's been multiplied, multiple efforts of all these illegals that the Democrats allowed to come in, especially in Chicago. For those of you to follow the show, you see I've not hundred, I got thousands of FOIAs, including one will show where there's human sex trafficking, child pornography, grooming of 11-year-old children, Catholic chair. Mary's a Catholic like me.
Oh, yeah.
I think
all
she's
three of us.
I think they're better Catholics than me. I'm like a typical Southwest, Italian American Southwest side Catholic. So I'm a Catholic when I'm in trouble. I'm indicted. I'm sick. I got cancer, and then then after all that gets better, then I go to confession. I start over on Monday.
It's the beauty of the Catholic faith. You can, forgiveness, right? And sense of humor.
Right.
And have a
hit
sense
the
of
reset
humor.
button.
Yeah.
Sure.
Some of my biggest, when I started fighting against the porn and the drag queens, some of my biggest followers are grandfather Catholics that would go to St. Mary's Church, the oldest one in Illinois, and do the rosary every Thursday. It's like 15, 20 grandpas. And they were praying for their children, their grandchildren in America for the last 3 or 4 years. And they would show up, support me more than anything. Then we drink afterwards, Mary.
Yeah. Sure.
I drink, and I'm like, guys, I go, what the heck happened to us? We used to have the Crusaders that would behead Muslims. We can't even get parents. We can't get your sons to stand up and defend your kid. The grandpas would go to the school board meetings, but their sons wouldn't show up.
Yeah.
And it's very upsetting. So we're excited to have you on and talk about all the things that you know about.
Yeah.
And as well as the Get in the Fight event that you have coming up in California. We'll talk about that. But before we'll show this again. But before, I want to just do a little intro with my friend Ryan Mata and JJ Carroll. They put together a documentary that's called What is Treason? And you're going to hear a little bit about some of the information from Carlos, one of the guys that actually was involved working undercover, and he's going to share some of the things that he saw with an interview with Ryan and JJ. I was in the segment as well and took them around Chicago to these shelters where, there's blatant human sex trafficking that we're funding. We're funding with the shelters. We're funding to bring them here and house them. Then they give them the phones. We're giving them the phones to commit the crimes to traffic these girls. So it's worse than. So I'm so excited to have Mary on here. Maybe she'll shine more light on what's going on in Chicago, not just nationally. So before we get started with Mary, you want to show this little clip, Mike?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and run this, and then I'll throw my 2 cents in after that.
I work for a ton of NGOs.
You went and got employed by the NGOs at the child migrant centers.
I did it for the Trump administration. I did it for the Biden administration.
So tell me what it was like under Trump.
People are like, well, Trump's separating families and this and that. And it's like, well, he's separating these people because they're not families.
Right.
They're kidnapped kids who are here against their will.
Well, that goes opposite of AOC and everyone else that said Trump was putting kids in cages.
Inhumane conduct that is about putting babies in cages. It is about separating children from their parents. You got to play by the rules, but we can't treat people like criminals.
Legal asylees are not charged with any crime.
When you're in the country illegally, it's violation
Section 8, United States Code 1325.
Seeking asylum is legal.
If you want to seek asylum and go through the port of entry, do it the legal way.
Okay.
People like AOC, they don't know what they're talking about. You don't know unless you work inside these places.
Children were not going to their parents. They were being trafficked with billions of taxpayer dollars by a contractor failing to vet sponsors and process children safely, with government officials complicit in it.
A lot of these kids in these facilities don't want to be there. They've asked, can I be deported? And the federal government, RR, says you're under federal custody. You're not allowed to leave until we give you a sponsor.
The sponsor given by a child trafficker in Mexico.
A lot of these times, these sponsors, these men, I would have men who were drunk in front of me there to pick up children, men who looked like they were under the influence of drugs, there to sign for a child and take them with them.
The Biden administration has known this. These sponsors are themselves undocumented. They know these people are part of a transnational criminal organization that makes money, that profits off human and sex trafficking. They know it, and they're doing it.
Some sick individual with a teenage girl, you know what they're going to want to do to her. They're not going to want to just force her to work. They're going to want to do other stuff to her.
It sounds as if you're dropping off children to somebody that ordered them off of Amazon.
Hey, where are you guys moving these kids to in this black car? Where are you going, man? How can we guarantee this kid's safety? Because you're not going to check up on them, right? So
You didn't ask my permission to be on.
Well, this is a one party. It's a one party consent state in New York. This is a public place.
It's a trafficking ring. A lot of people don't like to say it, but it is, because you're moving children. And every corner, whether it's Texas, California, now New York, there's children who are being harmed because of the immigration crisis.
And you've told this to so many people. Why has no one done anything?
There's certain people in Congress who will tweet about the kids, and they'll say, oh, Joe Biden has lost 85,000 of them, and he's such a bad person, and they'll make videos about it, and they'll get likes and retweets. But when a whistleblower calls their office, they don't talk to us. They don't care.
No, they don't, because they're all in on it.
Matt Gaetz does a lot of good, I will say that, but at the same time is, where are you on the kids?
That was a great documentary. Those guys did a really good job, man. And I'm proud to know them. So, Mike, before we hand it to Mary, I think I cut you off. You wanted to have your 2 cents. So go ahead, give your 2 cents, and then let's hand it off to Mary, and we'll go from there.
I was just going to mention again, like you've done a lot of work to highlight something that they also highlighted in this video, that 85,000 missing kids is now turned into 300,000 to 400,000 missing kids. And if that weren't for Tara Rodas and Aaron Stevenson, I know we've had Aaron on the show a couple times, and I think we've had Tara on with Aaron on this program at least once. I've had both of them on my show, along with Ruben and a lot of the other whistleblowers, numerous times on the insurrection and on other programs where I've been fortunate enough to be a guest. But these are people that know, they understand the system. They know what they're doing. Aaron is an expert on this. When he discovered all this, when he's still a DHS analyst. I mean, this guy used to help them target terrorists, Al-Qaeda and whatnot overseas. He knows what he's doing. But now the difficulty is getting both of them into a position where they can put their knowledge, their skills to work and rescue these kids. And I just don't understand right now why that's been so difficult, that we're 8 months into the Trump administration now. I know they've both been ringing phones with everybody they can, sending emails, trying to get somebody to pay attention and give them the ability to help rescue these kids. Because this isn't like a lot of things. Like, these kids are still being harmed. We just rescued some of them on a marijuana farm in California, but I guess Newsom thinks that's okay. But the rest of them, they're still being sex trafficked around the country, and nothing is being done to stop it right now.
Right. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's crazy. It's absolutely a very, very dark stain on this country, that we have become the highest, buyer and seller of children, crimes that are committing crimes against children, abuse of all kinds, all the way through till the end of their little lives, which then they use their little body parts. So
Yeah.
we have a multi-billion-dollar business. It's probably 350. That's small billion-dollar business that we're talking about here. An economy that fuels the globalists, fuels all the dark, entities and all the dark kind of forces that are trying to take down our country. And it's child crimes. is number one, where it used to be, drugs and guns, and that's that's just a part of the human trafficking that
Yeah.
just goes along with it. It's just another side of the economy that they need. They
It's
need those. They
it's
need the drugs.
another revenue source for them. It's just another product.
Well, they need the drugs to drug the children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They need these things. They need the guns to protect their areas,
Yes.
their their houses, their places where they keep children and bring children. Now, mind you, today, I mean, well, years ago, people always say to me, we never see them. We never see kids. Well, you're not going to see kids because this right here is the John. They can transport and pick up and drop off right through a phone, right?
Yeah.
And do all their business. Even we have Bitcoin, the way they buy and sell. We have those kinds of activities going on, and so this is a very organized, extremely high level technical high level economy.
Yeah.
A criminal economy. Okay, it's a criminal economy. It's sad, very sad.
Yeah, Mary, you've been doing this for a long time, right? My understanding is.
Well, to be honest with you, really, I have been in the nonprofit business world for over 40 years.
Wow.
And I am a finance, I'm a finance compliance auditor. I have always been involved with nonprofits on the finance compliance, and I've always, to be honest with you, I've always found where there was money. I always was brought in for some reason. I mean, my last bout was somebody was stealing money in one of the biggest parishes in Rhode Island, which was the Diocese of Providence, and somebody was stealing money. So they brought me in to finish an audit and fix their books and all this nonsense. And I found out through my travels, just like I worked for United Way, I worked for the Blue Bloods, I worked for the Vanderbilts, I worked for the Preservation Society, I worked for the Drexels, Drexel University. I worked in big foundations, big nonprofits, NGOs. I know them well. I know how their money works. I can smell, I can smell money, and it's
Yeah.
just one of those gifts God gave me. And that was my last bout, was this Catholic Charities. I found how they laundered the money and where and how it happens. And so that's why it brought me to this, to testify with Tara Rodas. I was invited to testify in a huge grand jury down in Florida. They did a fantastic job. This one AG that's become such a good friend of mine. He's a great guy, ran this grand jury. Boz testified as well. They're a part of my Project Defend and Protect Our Children, my Little Flower team that I put together a couple of years ago to bring all over the country and to go into churches and to educate and train and give tools to people and help that community understand how dangerous this is, but how to protect their children. So I was able to testify against the Catholic Church, the Catholic Charities, and they never went anywhere with that grand jury, though. So here's a problem. You're talking about why is this happening, right? So that grand jury named 3 NGOs: Catholic Charities, Jewish Foundation, Lutheran Social Services. They're the 3 biggest NGOs receiving the largest amounts of money from the government. Okay.
Yeah, billions of dollars.
Millions. Yeah. To do what they were doing during the Biden. So Biden administration, these people used NGOs of all kinds that all were fit into their, I say their scheme of, criminal behavior, right? They allowed these NGOs to run the show. And that's, what Tara discovers. Aaron on the other end discovers the cartel being the sponsors, having, one particular case, they dropped 300 children in a field, in the middle of nowhere.
When you say they, is that the cartel or Catholic?
Well, no,
Or
the
both?
contractors, the
Okay.
NGOs.
Got
So
it.
they started at the point where Pomona was, where Tara was, for example. They bring the kids in. And by the way, Trump leaves the White House in 2020. That election is stolen from him.
Yes.
And there's a report that was given before he left in the foster care system that 400,000 children were missing out of the foster. This is
Unbelievable.
very important. This is very important because this is what's happened. That report came out. He loses the election, or gets it stolen.
Yes.
And then Biden comes in, administration comes in. Now all of a sudden you start to see Tara and that team of women who came forward, because there were several women that were working in the contracting part, but also Tara working in the for the government.
HHS.
For our government, just doing volunteering her job down there, and she discovers this. The contractors are being given the children. The children are put in the system, but then all of a sudden they get the kids in their hands and they're taken off. They leave Pomona and all their names and all their data is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they put the names in, the data in, and then they took it out.
Yeah.
And then they moved the kids. Okay, so then they moved the kids, and that's Aaron. Aaron discovers, wait a minute, these are bad guys that are sponsoring children. Okay.
Yeah, he's getting threat notices from people trying to adopt kids, which is not normal.
Yeah, no. So these guys are heroes. They're really seriously. We need to take them very seriously. They were Aaron didn't follow the. See, I have a whistleblower program. America's Future has a whistleblowers program, and I did this because Tara is the one. She's just a brilliant woman, and she's just been doing. She's a great person. Her job. She's been doing a good job. OIG, Office of Inspector General. So she's very well versed and knows her job well. She is the one that told me all about how the whistleblowers need to go a certain way. And of course, Grassley had a lot to do with that. He's a great man. He did a great job. Wish there were more like him. And so there's a pathway for a whistleblower. Now, Aaron, he just couldn't wait anymore. They weren't gonna, he just discovered something that was so hard for him to sleep at night and hard for him to see, only because, he's a Marine. He has seen things in the war zones. And so, he's got, that's trauma. That's a trauma incident of function for a person like him. He was very traumatized by that, and God bless him, but he didn't get the whistleblower path. So, you know what I mean? So, because he just said, nobody's listening to me. Nobody's helping me. I gotta tell this. I gotta tell everybody what I'm seeing here. So, it's tough for him, and they should bring him back. They should put Tara in charge of, she should be working for Bobby Kennedy, who's doing the best he can under the circumstances, because HHS still has a lot of holdovers in that department that actually were working for Mayorkas, who stopped, I'm going to bring it back around now, who stopped the grand jury from going any further. They changed the rules. When the grand jury evidence came out and Florida sent it to, Mayorkas, HHS, up to the government, up to the administration, they did nothing. They said, no, later. Let's get rid of that. Never mind that, right? That's what they said. They ignored it. And they changed the rules. And they continued to allow these NGOs to have criminal behavior. It's criminal behavior what they did.
It is, absolutely.
I can tell you stories like you don't even, and I know this deeply because I know Catholic Charities. And when I discovered Catholic Charities and how they did the money and what they were doing, to punish people, to punish parishes and so forth. People think that they're doing great things, and they're not doing great things.
Yeah, Mary,
Do not give your money to that.
yeah,
Do
my
not
mom,
give
my
your
my 86-year-old my mother, like when I first became a Republican, she was upset. My whole Italian side of the family was Democrat.
Oh, I
New
know.
Yorkers. I'm half Italian, and I grew up the Southwest side. She was angry at me about
Oh,
when I transitioned. I transitioned to be a Republican, but and she
I
doesn't give
know.
anything to Catholic Charity. I mean, she's so upset with the stuff that I learned and found. So a couple things I just want to share with you. There was 27 shelters in the city of Chicago.
Yeah.
So I went with one of my friends, one of my Hispanic
Yep.
buddies, who could translate to the Inn of Chicago, where I found 240 police incidences in 12 months at the Inn of Chicago. And so I walked up and I had my friend translate to the Venezuelans. I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I'm Catholic, Italiano, Catholic," trying to be nice to them. You know what I mean? And
I
so
know.
my friend would translate, and I said, "Hey, Val, ask him, is Catholic Charities helping them here?" Yep, they're helping him here. I go, "Did Catholic Charities help them at the border?" He translates, "Yes, they helped them at the border." I go, "Did they have to go through the cartels to get into the United States?" Translate, "Yes." So basically, our church is the distribution arm for the cartels into the United States of America. The cartels drop them off. Our church picks them up, brings them off, distributes them, houses them. There's another, and again, I'm going to share this all with you later, so you can do more with it than what I could. I have another for you from between the city of Chicago and Catholic Charities, and I got all their email addresses, Mary, of Northwestern University. I mean, like 50 of them, patting each other on the back, right? So
Yeah.
they had to open up. Catholic Charities told the city of Chicago, we have to open up another spousal abuse shelter because the Venezuelan men are beating the heck not only of their wives. I got some FOIAs where they beat up their children to get back at the wives.
Yeah.
I got another one which is really disgusting. So the city of Chicago reached out to the Catholic Charities, and they asked them about repatriating one of the women back to Venezuela. There was a email exchange back and forth, and they said, "Well, that's not our mission. That's not our mission." So our Catholic Church, the loving, caring Catholic Church, is not going to send a woman who probably was beat up, maybe in her shelter, wants to go back home because she was beat up. And our Catholic Church said no, because it's not their mission, meaning that's code for saying we're not getting paid for it, right?
Well,
There's another woman that was beat up because she sent money back to her husband. I'm sorry, she sent money back to her parents in Venezuela. The husband found out. And then the last one is Downers Grove. I live in a western suburb. So when Johnson said, "Hey, you can't use your buses to drop them off here," so they started there was 1,300 buses that were dropped off in the western suburbs and the train lines that would go into Chicago. Mine was all nice suburbs. They would just dump them off, right? So the
yeah.
first few buses that I went to were Venezuelan people, by themselves. They didn't
Yeah.
have anybody watching them. Matter of fact, even though I don't want them there was some like mothers with children thinking a train was going to take them north to Milwaukee. And I filmed it. I told them what to do, and then I got attacked for being nice to them. But they're sitting in a train station thinking a train's going to take them north, and it actually heads east into Chicago. So the first few buses had absolutely no handlers. Then I started seeing these handlers coming, and then they would take Ubers and go back to O'Hare Airport and fly. And then I try to talk to including Trent Largo, flashing their gang signs. I tried to talk to them. These handlers would come up, "Don't talk to him. Don't talk to him." That was not Abbott, right? They're blaming. So Brandon Johnson, if you saw him in Congress,
Yeah.
Abbott said,
Yeah.
Up, Terry froze.
no.
Oh, Terry froze. Yeah.
Those
Okay,
were
you're back.
handlers. Those were handlers because when Abbott would send them here, I don't think he's paying. These handlers were getting $450 a day. I found out. I don't think Governor Abbott cared about handlers. Then all of a sudden, they got handlers coming who are telling them not to talk to me. That's not Governor Abbott. That's Catholic Charities. That's the NGOs that are putting them on their buses and sending them there, paying handlers to tell them not to talk to us because they don't want the message to get out.
Yeah. So what are you surprised about? Why are you so, I mean, seriously? These people are taking billions of dollars from the government. Do you know there's a document. Let me tell you why. There's a document that the Catholic Church has to sign at Catholic Charities. These bishops, these U.S. bishops, they're very corrupt. They're very corrupt. This U.S. Bishop Council, okay?
Yes.
They run the national. They run the national, okay? They tell all the bishops and all the dioceses what to do, okay? They are represented. They are like, you know what they are? They're like the Federal Reserve of the Catholic Church, okay? They're so bad. These guys live high off the hog. They have, you know, beautiful homes, you know, so vows of poverty out the door. Vows of, you know, out the door. These people have a lot of, you know, explaining to do to the people. So they have, you know, when you take money from, when an NGO takes money, a nonprofit, a church, okay, a ministry, a church, a Christian church, a Christian,
allegedly.
Church, they have to sign documents. There's documents, and I know this because this is what I discovered. And the documents say, you know, you will not use any of this money for faith-based programs. Okay, which means, and by the way, their bylaws in there's so many corporations in the Catholic Church. Everything's a corporation. Believe me, everything is a corporate. And there's entities within entities. They've folded, you know, layers and layers. You guys, okay?
It's like a criminal enterprise, then.
Yes, it's very, you know, it's designed. It became, you know, it's just designed to be money, to hide money. Corporate, and they've been allowed to do this because the government's working with the Vatican. My whole thing has always been this. When I discovered what I discovered was, I realized that it comes from the Vatican. Okay, all this comes from the Vatican, and that's why we had a guy like Francis, who was put in place, who is a communist, and his best friend was Cardinal McCarrick, who was the biggest pedophile there ever was.
Yes.
Believe me, besides the Boy Scouts and the guy who was hurting all the little girls in the gym in the Olympics. The gymnast.
Yep.
You know, what's his name? I forget his name.
Dr. Sorry, go ahead.
So you know, these people were groomed. McCarrick was groomed in a seminary over in St. Gallen. The St. Gallen Mafia. They have the Lavender Mafia, they call it. That's the homosexual, you know, / pedophile priests and so forth. I mean, you know, there's a lot on this. It's not conspiracy. This stuff has been, you know, very, very much exposed. Actually, a lot of the priests, like my great friend, Father James Altman, he's a wonderful guy. I mean, there's like 100 priests that have been defrocked that have told the truth.
Chicago was a hotbed for that. I don't know. I mean, you probably know better than me, Mary, but that.
Well, yeah, I mean, they finally had an investigation in March. I think it's March of Catholic Charities in Chicago, and you know, they need to start charging RICO. Okay, RICO has to be the thing, and I have to stress that, you know, we need RICO. We need RICO.
I know RICO.
So that's what we need, and they've been trying to do that, you know, with this investigation, and the U.S. Department. I just pulled it up because I had some notes on it. It's the U.S. Department. They filed a complaint, the U.S. Department of Justice with Catholic Charities, you know, criminal activity facilitating the illegal immigration, and so there is an investigation. It's, you know, it is racketeering. It is racketeering.
It is, absolutely. What are your thoughts about the new pope from Chicago, from the south side of Chicago? What are your thoughts?
Well, don't be surprised if they're putting an American in for, you know, for the looks of it. I don't trust him. I don't trust
any of them anymore.
You know, I don't trust the only one I trust is Carlos Vigano, Archbishop Vigano, who is a man who counseled me, and he counseled my brother, General Flynn. He became a very good friend when General Flynn was being persecuted. at the same time, I was working in the Catholic Church, and I was discovering, and I was becoming a whistleblower. I was finding what I was finding. So at the same time, we were, and in fact, the only reason that they didn't fire me was because in Rhode Island, where we're from, Newport, Rhode Island, the news was all my brother.
Oh,
And so if they had fired me, it would have been a bigger scandal for them. That's what I think. You know, I mean,
You're
it would have
probably
been
right.
too much. It would have been too much for two Flynn's. You know, one in the church and then one in the you know, the government, right? The military,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, you remember
Too much.
you know, I told you how the grandfathers and they do the rosary and stuff, and
Yeah.
the you know, I told them, I said, guys, what's going on with the church and stuff? Why aren't you guys, speaking out? Why aren't you going against them? And they said, well, Tara, because they were my biggest supporters in the beginning. And they said, it's like our government, the people up top are bad. I go, but I go, your silence is deafening. You guys
That's
got to
right.
do something. And it was just kind of frustrating. And then like I had other shows in the past. There was a story in Gateway Pundit about
Yeah.
charities. I think I shared with you. And again, I grew up Southwest Side, so mostly Irish and Italians, more Irish than Italians. And I
Yeah.
had people that were my friends and followers that were like, "Oh yeah, we support everything you're doing, but don't go after our church." I'm like, "What are you talking
Oh,
about?"
oh no, it
I
has
don't
to be.
understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would
No,
love,
no, you got to call these things out.
Yeah.
We can't. No, 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 no. The
Exactly.
institutions are corrupt, not the faith.
Yeah.
The faith is a
Yeah.
beautiful faith.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
not the people in
remember
the church
that.
buying. Yeah, it's not the people attending
And
mass
you
by
can't.
and large.
Well,
It's the
we
people.
can't. That's right.
Sorry, go
Well,
ahead.
what we can't do is allow men, humans, to destroy what we love, what
Yeah.
is cherished to us, our faith. Now,
Mhm.
talk about freedom of religion. They have used and abused their authority to destroy a beautiful faith,
Mhm.
and the institutions are corrupt,
Yeah.
not the faith. I used to tell people in the parish, they used to come in, because I also worked during COVID. And remember, COVID, all the churches in the
Yeah.
Catholic Church, the churches, they
Close.
shut down.
Yeah.
And the
Yep.
churches, the priests literally, in Rhode Island, up in New England's communist, okay,
Yeah.
communist.
Illinois
They
too.
they literally went on vacation, guys, and they
Yeah.
collected another $600 a week. And they went on vacation. They stopped baptizing babies. They
Mhm.
stopped anointing the sick. All their duties, all their religious clergy duties, they stopped
Yeah.
doing. I mean, it destroyed people. I
Mhm.
used to
Yeah.
get phone calls from, I swear, I mean, a couple of people wanted to just, kill themselves. Because Catholics have never been taught to just sit and read the Bible. They've been told to go to mass on Sunday,
Yeah.
and that's where you're going to hear scripture, word, and lo and behold, look how good that's done for Catholics.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's sad because they're afraid to stand up to these clergy, and that's very sad. We
Yep.
we cannot allow them to take our faith away
Yeah.
from us.
In
We
in
can't.
my man cave downstairs, I have a pew. My wife's not even Catholic, and she's like, and I'm like, I got this.
Well, those are, the Catholics have, everything is so sentimental to
You
to
you joke
Catholics.
and stuff, and I'm like, I told my I got remarried, so that's another sin. But I told my wife, I go like, I had to get. She said she hates politics as it affected our family. She hates all this stuff. I go, Kara, that's when I was an altar boy. It's the first time I had sex. It's awful bad joke. It's a bad Catholic joke. It's a bad Catholic joke. I get everyone mad at me. I would like to have it.
That's all right.
I do that I did that on purpose. She didn't like it. She wanted me to get rid of it. And I'm like, I didn't. I thought it was kind of cool. Forget about the joke. I thought it was cool to have a pew there because what they
Yeah.
do, they have so many churches that were closing in Chicago. And what this guy does is he gets the pews and he like shortens them so you can fit them in your house. And I have
Yeah.
it downstairs by my pool table, and I think it's kind of cool.
Well, it's good craftsmanship too. I mean,
Yeah.
these churches were
Beautiful.
beautiful. Listen, I know. I mean, jeez.
I would like if sometime in the future. So I had two events, and I grew up in the southwest side of Chicago. My dad worked for the city of Chicago. My uncle Mike Cafani was the president of the gas union, all like the union leaders and stuff, right? The union workers are on our side, right? The Catholics, all this stuff. I had 2 events in the southwest side of Chicago, in the heart of the Union Chicago Democrats. One for Mike Lindell, the other one I had for Tom Holman before he, last June,
Yeah.
Border 911. And I would
Yeah.
love, and I work with my Catholic buddies and stuff. I would love to host some kind of event that we could do in the future, Mary, to have you come in and about the Catholic Church and how we need to help get people to help us fix
Yeah.
this, or at least acknowledge, because Chicago, nobody does anything in Chicago. Nobody.
I know. Well, so we were in Chicago. We did a summit. It was one of our in 2024. We did a summit in Chicago. I have to look back where, but it was beautiful. So my daughter was born in Chicago.
Really?
I lived in Chicago.
Where
So
at?
my
What hospital?
well, Great Lakes. So my first husband was a Marine.
Oh, my dad went to Great Lakes, on the north side. My dad went to boot camp for the Navy up there.
Yeah, so yep, it was a naval base. It was a air, he was in the air wing of the Marines, and so Great Lakes was the big base. He flew C-130s,
Oh, wow.
the big cargo planes, and fuelers, and then but we were stationed in Glenview, Illinois,
Yeah,
which is it was a small base, and my daughter was born in Great Lakes, and he died at 40 years old though. He died of cancer, a very sarcoma connective tissue. He got so sick from I know he was exposed. Marines have been exposed to high levels of toxicity of all their careers.
Oh,
Really,
I'm sure.
Look, that's Lejeune. You see Camp Lejeune and all these kind of class actions and all these kind of stuff. But he died very young, and Chicago was a place that we were there for 4 years. Chrissy was just born, and I coming from New England and Newport, which was an island and surrounded by the ocean, the Atlantic Ocean. It was a big deal for me to. It was a big change for me in Chicago, and I lived. They didn't like the military. Where we were, the Jewish. It was mostly Jewish.
Yeah, North
community.
Shore is Jewish. It is.
Yeah, Buffalo Grove, all those
Yeah,
areas.
yeah.
They did not. They were not nice to the military. I got to say, it was a tough place
I don't
to
think
be.
they're any better now, right?
Well, it was sad because I come from such a military family. I was so shocked that that we were being treated like we were shit, like we were nothing, like we were like
Mhm.
we
Yeah.
were like, you're in my way. Like, are you kidding me? Like,
Mhm.
they didn't
That's
care.
how they are.
It was awful. It
How
was
they are.
really awful.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
felt it.
Yeah,
So
a funny story. So my father joined the Navy. I was born in 1961, and my father joined the Navy to see the world. And so he had to do he had to do boot camp up in Great Lakes, and then they stuck him there he was there for 4.5 years as a medic. He never left Great Lakes.
yeah,
But that was a good thing because my grandparents came from Italy, my Catholic mother, and
yeah.
that's how I came. Thank God if my dad didn't see the world, I wouldn't be here right now.
Yeah. Well, that's how it is in this country. We all came from somewhere, right?
Yeah.
My family's all Irish. They all came to Newport and worked for all the millionaires.
Yeah.
All my
And then
family.
my dad's side, even though my last name's Newsom, so my mom, my grandparents came from Italy. I had one grandma spoke Italian, and then my other grandma spoke Polish. She was Polish. So the Polish side of the family was all Catholic too. So both,
Yeah, oh yeah.
I was raised, by a whole, both sides Catholic, in
Yeah.
Chicago, tons of Catholics.
Yeah, it's great. It's
You
great.
know, that's why we've got to restore them to what they used to be, where they were an uplifting force in the community.
Well, I really believe that, in 1969, this prophecy was put out by Retzinger, Pope Retzinger. He was a priest at the time, Benedict, right? That
Yep.
was his name. He prophesied that the church would would go into catatonic state, very bad state, which we are here now, and that it would become poor before it would renew and heal and become, it would be small, and I believe that that's what's happening because we have to go back to tradition. We have to, God never changes. Jesus never changes. They never change. We can't we can't move that. I mean, so the Catholic Church has to stay. It's gotten too greedy, guys. It's gotten too business like, and that's Jesus flipped the tables right in the temple, and I believe that it's going to get poor, and we should strip it of its money. We really should.
Yeah.
We really should strip it. Um, get back to parishes, little churches, people in their communities taking care of their little parishes, paying the electric bills. Why should we be giving these national collections and these diocesan collections? This is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I mean, you can
Well, yeah.
use that's yeah. So
But they become so politicized too, and just embed with these communist, globalist, World Economic Forum nonsense. And that's really where they went off the rails. I mean, you don't have to go back that far to, Pope John Paul and fighting for a freedom under communism, everything that he accomplished there in Poland, to where they were a force for good. It's in the last, under 30 years that we've seen this change. So you're right. They need to be sent a message, and that message is going to be financial at this point, because apparently that's what they value now.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
So, Mary,
That's right. I mean,
Sorry, is there like something organized in a voice? So I'm glad to hear that you spoke out. I think General Flynn said he was going to speak in text messages. Is there anything organized that Catholics are trying to get other Catholics to get involved
Well, there really is some great people. I always, Catholics for Catholics is very good. There's groups that are fighting back. They really are, and there's some great people. And you just have to use your common sense. The Catholics need to open their mind. Really, the baby boomers. Okay, you're talking about your grandmother. These people. They were these.
Talking about me.
Well, I know. Well, so we had the Kennedy Democrats, right?
My family.
So was my mother. My mother and father were too. They were Irish Catholics. My mother was fighting pro-life, pro-life. She was fighting for babies, and they were conservative. They were just what Republicans are, but they had no money.
Yes.
They were the working man class, and God bless them. Because here's what else it did. Here's what they represented. They represented the small business, the middle class. And that's the most important thing in all the world that this country offers, and that is a middle class. We really need to understand that without our middle class, we would be like any other nation, and that is rich, 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 poor, poor, poor. Middle class is the engine of this country, and it's important that we really start to get back to cherishing that. Because that middle class has been beaten up, and I'm in middle class. I'm a middle class. We had a fence business. So we've been beaten up all for decades now, including COVID. That was like the nail in the coffin, right?
For a lot of small businesses.
So my friends were again where I grew up. That's all I knew was being a Democrat. I was never active until my kids started. I'm a grandpa dad, so I got remarried with a younger wife. My kids just graduated high school. I'm like, I could be the father of the kids, other kids' fathers. And I was, so on the Southwest side where I grew up was all blue collar, and all the union guys, my friends that are still there. And when I hosted those events, it's all city of work, city of Chicago work. They're all Republicans.
Yeah.
It's the union leaders. When I had the Mike Lindell event there, and I was walking, that was the first event before the one with Tom Holman. So I'm like getting ready, running around in this like typical overweight Chicago cop with the stars on his sweatshirt. He's like, excuse me, are you with this group? I'm like, yeah. He goes, why is Mike Lindell here? And I'm like, oh shit, this must, he's like, why is he here? I go, well, I grew up over here. He goes, but why is he here? And I said, well, this is my neighborhood, and I just wanted to come back, and I'd like to have him. It was a fundraiser for Mike, actually.
Oh, I see.
And he goes, I don't have money for the VIP picture. I think it was $75 with the VIP table and stuff, and I would just love to get a picture with him. I said, oh, okay. So I thought I was going to have a confrontation, right? And I go, oh, all right. How about this? At the end, I'm going to call all the first responders, military. You come up stage, you're going to get a free picture with him. And the guy hugged me, right? And all the blue collar people, to your point, are waking up. They're on our side now, and it's incredible to see. I was in the Southside Irish parade. We have the Southside Irish.
Oh yeah,
parade.
I know you do. I've been there. I've seen it.
Yeah, my buddy Rob Cruz was running for Congress, I think like 4 years ago. We were behind Pritzker and Lightfoot. And it's funny, all the union people, right? They had to pull Pritzker and Lightfoot out of the parade because the people were throwing the candy back at them, right? And these are all Catholic blue collar workers, right? And the city of Chicago is tainted with this corruption because of the money, the politics, and the union leaders, not the union members.
I know.
It's the union leaders that are destroying the city of Chicago with the
usually is the leaders. It's the leadership, you guys. You got to remember that. It's the same thing with the bishops I'm talking about. It's that high end leadership. It's that those people think they're high and mighty. They live off the high. They're tremendously, it's tremendous sinful. It's very sinful.
Yeah.
Hey,
Mike, while we're talking, can you show that funny picture that Mary's going to laugh her butt off that I sent you of my children?
Did you just send it? Let me find it.
I texted it and I sent it to you in an email.
Oh yeah, I got it right now. Okay, give me a second. We'll have this on there.
So like I live in Darien. I moved, so I grew up Southwest Side.
Yep.
Couldn't afford the Catholic school. We used to call in Chicago Publics and Catholics. I don't know if you guys did that in Rhode Island. You're a public.
Well, my father had 9 kids. We have 9 kids, so it was like $100.
Oh my God, we couldn't even.
We got a discount. We got discounts.
Yeah.
Big discount.
You got a big Irish family, so we couldn't afford it, honestly. So no, like I did well. I got lucky. Long story, and I worked hard, not just luck. And so now we moved from LaGrange over to where I'm at now. My kids were in kindergarten in LaGrange. Then we come here, and the kids go to first few years of public school. And I got upset because I remember over Christmas we would always do the Christmas shows, right?
Yeah.
Right? It was a big, even in the public schools.
Yeah.
They refused to do them. And I got upset, so I told my wife, I'm like, I'm sending the kids to Catholic school.
Yeah.
So as he's getting ready, you're going to laugh your butt off when you see this photo. So I forced them to go to Catholic school, my twins. I got boy-girl twins.
Oh, wow.
And the Catholic schools here in Chicago, people are leaving the Catholic. There you go. Look at their first day of school, Mary. And the funny thing is that my wife was mad, and then I had to go travel for work. So that's their first day of going to Catholic school with their uniforms. And I was in Florida for work. She sent that to me. She hated me.
That's funny. They're cute. That's cute.
Yeah. And
what are they, like 3rd grade or 2nd grade?
Yeah, I think it was like 3rd grade. And and I love the and this, right? The family and but the school was so underfunded. They're leaving. It's like the gymnasium looked like it was from the 60s. And then my kids were smart because of their mother and their and they didn't have
there was always a struggle. The Catholic school system always, the parochial school system always struggled with what they should have done was concentrated on all the money they were making instead of all these stupid collections and all the money they put into Catholic charity. They should have just put it all into schools.
Yeah, I pulled them out in 7th grade. They went to the public school, and it was hard because I love the parents. We're still friends.
Poor management.
And I pulled them out because I felt like I was doing an educational disservice to my children. The family aspect, the church, all that stuff I loved. But it's like, my kids are going to school for more than that, right? And I feel like they're being left behind. So in 7th grade, they went to the public school. And guess what happened in 8th grade? They shut the school down. All their friends had to miss their 8th grade and go to a different school because they shut it down.
COVID.
No, they just because
Oh.
the class sizes were, people are just, especially in Chicago with all the crazy, the sex.
Well, there's a low birth rate. Nobody's having kids
Yeah,
anymore,
yeah,
guys.
yeah.
So
Yeah, and that's
it's
what
the
happened.
lowest
Like,
in the history. It's the lowest in the history of all time right now. All nations.
yeah,
All lowest birth
the
rate.
young Gen Z is only 40 million people. That's less than
I mean-
half of what it should be. Millennials, where I'm at, it was 80. I can't remember, 75 or 85 million. Sorry, I just went through all these numbers like on a different program because like this is going to lead to major problems. But yeah, right as I was getting out of Catholic grade school here in Ohio, that's when they were merging all of them, and all of a sudden, I went to Our Lady of Mercy. All of a sudden, that gets merged with Corpus Christi and I think it was Queen of Martyrs. So 3 parishes in one, and now it's even smaller. But a lot of it's because here we did have a lot of woke nonsense in the Archdiocese of Cincinnati. Like that's why I quit going to the church I was going to. They literally for June for Pride Month went in there and yelled at all the Trump voters. The priests did, so that we shouldn't be there with our hateful whatever.
Well,
about
because they're homosexual. They're homosexual.
Yeah.
They really are, you guys. It's a lavender mafia. It really is. It's so sad that they would embrace. It's so against all teaching, all the biblical, everything. It's against everything we think of, we believe in. And by the way, this country is a Christian nation. That's it. It's a constitutional republic. I'm tired of people saying a democracy. It's a constitutional republic.
Yep.
It is unique. It was created to be unique because God made it created. It created it unique. And he also created it for us to spread our Christian faith around the world, not make war, not do that, not what we're doing. So
no.
I think Trump understands that. I think it's wonderful to see him with the attitude of peace, by peace, he's using his gift of negotiating and his gift of business, which I know well, and it's why I liked him even from the first time I saw him on Apprentice and all that. I mean, I've followed him a long time, way as a young guy too. I find him to be just a real smart businessman. This country needed him, and we still do, and he's doing a good job. And I do believe, back to the children, that he does want to make sure the children are found, stops. He's very, very in tune with children. The sad part about what I see, and the reason, getting back to what we were talking about in the beginning of the show, was I believe that there are people that are blocking the good guys from helping him.
Absolutely.
And we are one of them. Our team is one of them.
Yes, they are. Yep. I said I became a Republican because they're the lesser of two evils.
And remember, this is big business. So you're cutting into their money, you guys.
Yes.
You know what I
and
mean?
And that makes a good point too, going back to the cartels too. That's when they discovered this human trafficking, especially child trafficking, sex trafficking, that unlike selling, say, a kilo of cocaine, which say you make $100,000 on, when you're selling sex trafficking victims, you get to cash that credit card in over and over and over again.
Over and over.
And then when it finally is worn out, then you sell off the organs. I mean, it's really just a disgusting.
And the first time, we're talking about Tara and Aaron, when they discovered the border, this whole issue with more, they needed more. So I had another point I wanted to make was, I was telling you about the foster care system before Trump and then after. So they needed a new supply of children, guys. That's what my theory is that they needed a new supply of children because they had already done, there's 400,000 missing and that was reported, but nobody seemed to really.
That's what I just never understand.
Yeah. So then all of a sudden you see children, when Biden gets in, you see children just being dumped. When Trump was there, you'd have an adult bring the child. Now you were seeing just children being dumped. And I gotta say something else. It's not just Catholic Charities. You have on the border, on the other side of the country, you have Catholic Relief. Catholic Relief is working hand in hand with. They work. That's another national collection, but it's international. They work outside the country, and they are the ones that go work with they recruit. They go find the children. They'll go work with the cartel. They'll go do whatever, and they bring the children to the border any way they can, and then they would pass them on to Catholic Charities, and
That's
they would
awesome.
take the children. So,
So
and that's 4 cartels, 4 different cartels working together. For the first time, they see enemies like this because they're territorial. They
yeah.
don't work together on this.
Oh, big
Okay,
time.
so everybody was getting a piece of the pie. That's how I feel about it.
Yep.
It was a free for all. This Biden, this whole crowd, they just, they let these guys make some big money.
Oh yeah.
And children
Yeah.
at the hands of children.
No, it's
Yeah.
insane. And then all the people
I don't
here
mean to
that
say it's so. I'm not trying to be cold about this either, but you got to understand this is what they do. This is the way it is for these people.
Yeah.
I know people that go into prisons outside the country and speak to traffickers that are in prison and pedophiles, and the intel is unbelievable. When you talk to a trafficker, they don't necessarily do those things to kids, but they are the ones that are running the
Facilitated. Yep.
moving, and they're running the entity, the enterprise, the
the
They're the
logistics.
system.
logistical
Yeah,
arm.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's guys that we have talked to that are they don't like it.
Yeah.
They know that they're doing things that are very bad with children, but they still do it. They still
Yep.
do it, and they have done it. Many have. There's some people in some of these prisons uh, that are turning to forgiveness and Christianity. They're trying to save their souls,
Mhm.
right?
Sure.
Trying to save their souls. I just don't think pedophiles are
Redeemable.
I believe that's not rehabable.
No,
I
it's
just,
not.
I mean,
They're sick bastards. It's not. That's why
I just don't think
why
that's
they're,
rehabable.
no, that's
I
why
think it's a soul sickness, and
Yep.
I think that that's only up to God.
Yep. That's why they're not just because of their crime, but they're putting in their place in prison big time. So before we go, because we're at I think at our hour, including our late start that we
Oh,
had.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, don't worry about
You're-
that.
Oh no, this is great. So before we have you talk about your event coming up with,
Oh,
with
yeah.
you and Lara, I know Lara Logan and then General
Yeah.
Flynn. I'd like to, and we'll figure this out in the future, because I have you come to Chicago and we'll do like a fundraiser for one of your events. So like I have a team that works with me, like when we did the Mike Lindell and we did the Tom Holman
Okay.
thing,
Tom Holman.
do it for
Yeah.
free, and then we get a venue that gives us like the venue and like cheap food, and then we bury it into the ticket, and they give the rest to the
Yeah.
foundation or whatever. So I'd love to have you come up and we talk about, and we try to make it like talking about the Catholic
Yeah.
Church, and then
Well, we're
you-
bringing
you-
pastors now. We're getting pastors. I've got a great thing going on. Michael wrote the 3 books. He wrote the 5G with Boone Cutler
Oh,
and
yeah, I talked to him.
AI,
Yeah,
and then the last one, which I find is the best. And I finally finished their manuals. They're kind of hard if you don't understand it. But it's the role of the church, and so that's where we're going to go with the Get in the Fights this year. And this one in California is going to kick it off. This one in California is at the Embrace Church. Sam Gallucci, he is the pastor, and they do a lot of work on with child trafficking. They're actually close to where the marijuana bust was, the farm. They
Oh,
found the children where this place is. So I'm looking forward to going there. We have a full house. We will be live streaming this. We have Laura running the panel. Jason Jones is joining us, who's brilliant down in the boy. He's an expert on cartel and terror and Boz and so forth. But the next day we're going to be doing several panels, and live streaming these, and we have some special guests like Jaguar. And Liz Krogan's going to be running a music and industry, film industry, entertainment industry panel, and we have some people that are going to be on that panel that are going to talk about what has gone on with kids, in that industry, in those industry. And
I
then
would love to.
we get some good panels that we're going to be doing some really good talk. Real truth, real good stuff coming on this summit. I'm really looking forward to this.
I would love to try to replicate something very similar in Chicago. If
Well, we could design it for your for Chicago. That's for sure. You know,
Oh yeah.
the other thing that we have to talk about, and that's going to kick off in the summit is the threats, the connection between the Sharia law, the Islam,
Oh
the
my God.
CCP, and that this all has to do with child crimes.
Yes.
One Islam, grooming, mutilation of children, stealing children, they're kidnapping children, they're grooming children, and their Sharia laws does not work in this country. Does not work in this
So,
country.
Mary, I grew up in the Southwest side, so my area outside of the South, like Chicago, South Side Irish and stuff, my high
Yeah.
school, like I run my high school reunions on like
Oh yeah.
the one I had the one I had 10 years ago. My principal, who's now like the overall dean, I called him. I'm like, hey, I want to, run the I'd like to have some teachers come and stuff. He's like, I go, do you remember me? He's like, yeah, how's your poor mother doing? And I said, so I'd like to have some teachers come and how's it going? He goes, Terry, you wouldn't believe how your high school changed. The Muslims have a bathroom. It's not official through the school. If any white kids go in there, they beat them up. All were my mother lives with us now. All the strip malls are all in Arabic where I grew up.
It's
The big
terrible.
the biggest mosque, not the population-wise, the
Yeah.
biggest
Physical
mosque
square footage. Yeah.
is Bridgeview, where I grew up. In the mud, they arrested Muslim Brotherhood. People don't understand how dangerous this is.
Oh
I was
man,
yeah,
it's
we can
very deep. I mean, you got Obamaville though. I mean, Chicago.
Yeah.
That's who you got. You had some bad people up there doing that bringing it all in, and that's the middle part of this country up that way, Minnesota, all those areas. That's where the Somalians were. All this kind
yeah,
of stuff,
yeah,
right?
yeah, I had, the 3rd
Can't
event.
allow it. It does
No,
not belong in
we
this
gotta
country.
fight back. We can't just be silent, right? So, the 3rd event I had was with Ben Bergquam and Ann Vandersteel, and it was up in so we didn't go to the Southwest side because all of the Antifa, we have a big
Oh
Antifa
yeah.
presence, right? And they called and they threatened them. So we went up to the Northwest side, a higher end, nicer suburb, and we had an event there. And people called and oh, we're gonna pull our business off. He's an Italian Catholic guy, right? And he gave us a great deal. That's where I'd love to have you guys come, and
Oh sure.
it'd be awesome. It'd be safe. It's in a nice area. We have the wackos say, "Oh, we're gonna, protest."
Oh no, we've been to like I said, we've been to Chicago. We had a great summit. We had a 2-day summit there, and it was awesome. We had some issues. It was no big deal. We don't care.
Yeah,
I don't worry about that stuff. God takes care of us. I really mean that. I don't. I
good.
know. We've been in the dark. We've been to Detroit. We've
Yeah,
been to Spokane. There's a pastor up in Spokane who we work with. He was a legislator. He got Sharia law out of Spokane.
mhm.
Okay. And that's a big deal. He legislated it out. So we're working on some things that need to be done.
Well,
We, you know,
when
It
you're
was an
keep
honor
me
to have
posted because Annie Cyrus and some others would love to speak at that event. Of course, you already know her, but we can bring in probably Robert Spencer, some other people that are nationally known names that would be happy to speak at an event like that. That really put the
yeah.
highlight that again, especially with what's
Well,
going on in a lot of
we
these
have
cities
to
now.
highlight. That's the biggest threat there is. We have to highlight that. It all has to do with protecting children too, because they
Yeah.
want your children. They want our children. That's what they want.
Yeah, and
Okay.
you look at what's happening in the UK or Mamdani in New York or this Fatah up in
Oh yeah,
Minnesota.
it's a joke. I
Yeah.
mean, anybody that has allowed this nonsense to happen in this country is not American.
No.
Okay, they're not American.
Yep.
They hate
Yeah,
this country.
we're in a
So
war.
leave. We
Yep.
got to get them out of here.
Yep.
Leave.
We're in a
That's right.
war. People don't know. Most people, we're in a war. Most people don't know we're in a war, and we're losing the war. People have to stand up and fight and, all worried about their job. Yes, we want to have a job, but you can't sit on the sidelines. One of the reasons we're in this situation is people said nothing. They did nothing
Yeah.
as this
Well,
happened.
my generation in particular, my brother and I always talk about this. I mean, he's 65, I'm 63, and
Oh, you're my age.
we really were the ones that we didn't have any war. We didn't have anything. We just let the politicians do their. We didn't
Yeah.
even care, and
Yeah.
so we
Yeah.
are the ones that have to fix it, though.
Yes.
We did this.
My
So
wife hates this, that I'm doing this. My wife hates it, right? I mean, because I was on a domestic terrorist watch list. The FBI was here. I was at January 6th peacefully with a cop, and my wife was like, she started crying after she broke down crying. First, she
don't be
screamed
afraid.
at me. Then she got hysterical, and then she started crying, and she's like, "What do I do if you get arrested? I don't know what to do. I don't know what to haul. Why you got to stop this." I go, "Carrie, I can't." I go, "If I could go to my deathbed, I go, we got to do this for our children and for our country. We have to." I go,
That's right.
I can't like die and not know I tried." Right?
It's what we have to do. When you have it inside you, you've got to do something. We cannot turn our faces anymore and away from this stuff. We cannot. We cannot. We can't leave our children with this mess. We
Yep.
made this mess. I made this mess.
Yeah, so me
So
too. Yeah. Well, thank you
can't
very
make it.
much.
Can't do that. I can't. I got 4 grandchildren myself, so
Yeah, well, thank you again for joining us tonight, and again, love to have you back. I need to reach out after this too, and book you on my program at some point to go through this. Maybe bring Tara and Aaron on as well.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Absolutely.
We'll do a panel.
Thank you, Mary. It was awesome having you on. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, and join us in California. We're going to be live streaming, so like I said, it's going to be on. So we'll have that link and all that. It'd be great. Good stuff to watch.
Absolutely. Well, thanks again for joining us. To the audience, thank you for joining us tonight. Please like, share, and subscribe. Help us to grow so we can bring more people the news the mainstream media doesn't want you to hear.